person who betrayed you come crawling back for help. I'd been with my fiancé for 3 years when he pulled a sewer slide prank on me. I found him in the bathroom, his wrists opened, a goodbye letter on the ledge, and the song we had our first kiss to on in the background. But here's the thing, I have a weak heart, I'm prone to heart attacks, and the moment I saw what I thought was my dead fiancé, I just collapsed on the floor. I don't remember much else, other than him leaping out of the tub and shaking me. It's a prank over and over before the world went black. I apparently died and was resuscitated twice, and when I woke up in the hospital 8 hours later, he was there with a bouquet of flowers and tears in his eyes. The doctors told me that while I'm alive, my heart is now 3 times weaker than it already was, and that I'm now at risk of sudden cardiac death and likely will be for the rest of my life. They put me on 7 different medications, and when I was discharged, made it crystal clear that a significant amount of stress, such as another prank, would literally kill me. That night, my fiancé sat me down. He was crying and called himself an idiot. I don't deserve you, but if you give me another chance, I promise I'll never do anything like that again. Every part of me wanted to say no, but this was the only time he'd ever done anything like this. I told him I'd stay, but only under very specific conditions, and for the first few months, he actually listened to everything I asked him. We found a couples therapist specializing in chronically ill couples. My fiancé took on board everything that was said, and at home treated me like a queen. He puffed my pillows, cooked for us. Every night he'd kiss my hands and tell me how lucky he feels for getting the chance he doesn't deserve. I remember one night I caught him sneaking off while I was sleeping. I followed him to check and found him on the computer researching all my medications and how to best help people with congestive heart failure. In a weird way, I began thinking that nearly dying was the best thing that ever happened to me. But then he started putting less effort in. He'd blare his music while I was trying to sleep, and when my chest pains hit, he'd groan saying he was too busy to get me my medicine. He took on less hours at work so I'd be motivated to get back to full time, and began drinking at home because I was stressing him out. Very soon, he was backtracking completely, manipulating our friends by saying he never wanted to stay in the relationship anyway, and that I was forcing him to take care of me because I wanted an excuse to do nothing. I started locking myself in our bedroom because he'd yell about how I expected all this from him, but couldn't even give him intimacy when he wanted. He even started intentionally spiking my heart rate again. I'd come out of the bathroom to him jumping from around the corner and going, boo. When one of these scares ended with me on the floor palpitating and clutching my chest, he laughed and accused me of being dramatic. I had to crawl to our medicine cabinet, and after my heart rate thankfully stabilized, I decided to escape. I ran away while he slept, and next morning pawned the ring he gave me. He didn't deserve it back. I threw myself into my healing process, and at one of my support groups, I met Andrew. His father had mistreated their chronically ill mother for his entire life, and he explained to me that abusers like my ex-fiancé do it because they need their partner weak. When someone's strong, abusers lose control. We moved in together after 9 months where he helped me become strong again. Not just mentally, but my doctor said my heart was a lot healthier too. 4 years after sewer slide prank, I got a call at 10 a.m. My ex-fiancé sounded panicked and distressed. Oh, thank God, finally. Turns out he'd assaulted his new girlfriend's mother. She called him out for prioritizing alcohol over her daughter, and he lunged at her, repeatedly throwing punches at her midsection. There was a voice recording of it, and she was pressing charges. Can you testify for me? I paused. Remember how I took care of you after you almost died? I'm a good guy who made a mistake here. I still wasn't speaking. I'll go to jail for this if you don't help, and it'll be your fault. That was when I responded. I told him it's crazy to me how he still thinks that the consequences of his actions are other people's faults. What happened between us was different, he yelled. I was just stressed. You couldn't work and you expected me to do everything, and that's your problem. I cut him off. I could tell he was taken aback because I'd never stood up to him before. You almost called me and somehow saw yourself as the victim. Now you beat an elderly woman and somehow see yourself as the victim. He went quiet. But you know what? I added, I'll testify. Wait, really? The excitement in his voice came back. Hey, Karina, I still love you. I hung up and told him I'll see him in court. On the day, I walked in to see him shaking, but when he saw me, his face just lit up and his body relaxed. He mouthed, thank you, before holding up a small love heart at me. I just smiled at him. I sat in the back and watched the prosecutor rip him apart. The whole time, he kept looking back at me like I was his lifeline, and I would just mouth to him that it's okay. When it was my turn to get up on the stand, I looked right at him. I was asked for a description of his character, and that's when I made eye contact with him. There's a lot of things I can say about Christopher. I started. I saw him smile, but none of them are good. His face absolutely deflated. He's a slimy, disgusting, abusive monster. The kind of guy to pull a sewer slide prank and beat an old lady. He deserves every minute he's facing and even more. The rest of my testimony was swift, and when I got off the stand, he was crying broken tears. He got all 10 years he was facing.